Okay, so let's move on now to the call server without parameters business here. And the first thing we want to do is set up a display area and also add a button. So we're going to muck around a bit with our pug file. So we'll go into index.pug and we'll paste in these two items, being careful about indentation, right? And if you're concerned about the indentation, which you should be, go to File, Settings, Editor, General Appearance, and check Show White Space. We're particularly concerned about leading. Then you'll end up with little dots on your screen that are unreadable. But as long as you're seeing little dots there, then all is good. And you can tell, oh, there's my 4 spaces that I want to indent this with. Okay. So then we come back here, and we've decided that we want to call the get9 method on the server. Okay, so now we've got buttons and stuff rolling. So we might even be able to see if that made any difference. We can come over here to the app, and there's our button, but it doesn't do anything yet. It just sits there. The search button works, but this one just sits there. So we go back to the instructions. We say, okay, we're going to call our get9 method. So as you recall, before in the past, we did this ugliness where we did, and we got the result back, but this isn't what we want. We don't want it showing up here. We want it showing up back in our program here. So let's see if we can fix that. The first thing we want to do is to be able to make an AJAX call to the server. And we do that with our get9 method. And we'll come over here and we'll go to here, and we'll go to Control.js, and near our search method we'll add a get9 method. And with this, we're calling the fetch API, which is built in to JavaScript now. You could look it up on MDN. And we're saying we want to call this route, call this endpoint on the server side. If there's an error, then get it in our first then method. If it works, get it here. And forward any errors that we get in either of the then statements to our catch statement. So this kind of format is called a promise. And promises, this whole call a method, then dot then, dot then. This is called a promise, and that's also part of ES6. It's part of JavaScript now. And it's the way that we handle asynchronous calls. And I'm not going to get into that right now, but it's easier than using callbacks, which was the old way that we handled this kind of thing. We'll talk about this in more depth in class. So right now, we're just going to call fetch. We're not going to worry too much about it, except to say it makes a call to the server, and then if the server can send something back, we're going to get it here. And we know the server does send something back. It sends back a tiny little JSON object with 2 fields in it, result and the number 9. And then we should be able to put that in the display area. And we're getting to the display area because we've got the display area ID. And remember here, we've got a little pre-tag here that's got an ID of display area. And also, let's cover this. This is our button. It's got an ID of get9 action. I'm going to try to put action on things that are buttons or links or things that could cause an action. Then we've got a little tiny bit of bootstrap here, and then we've got our label here. So, okay, the one thing we're missing here is this kind of code to hook up the new get9 method. So what we're going to need is something like this. And rather than have me watch me type it in, I'll just paste it in. So now we're going to go after the get9 action ID. We're going to put it in a variable called get9. We're going to make sure that thing's valid, and then we're going to set its onClick method to get9. We're getting a little bit in danger of a dry violation here. Don't repeat yourself. But for now, we're just going to go ahead and do it. And then let's see what happens when we look at our code now. So we'll come over here, we'll refresh our code, and we'll click get9. And do you see how it displayed the result of our call to the get9 on the server here? Let's just review this so that we're all on top of it here. Remember that index.js, we have a get9 method, and it sends back the world's tiniest piece of, well, a very small piece of JSON. And then we are displaying that little bit of JSON right here in the pre-tag that we created. Remember, that's our pre-tag sitting there right down here. Here's our little pre-tag. Or if we want to get fussy about it, we could go to the elements page. We could right click on this and say inspect, and here it shows you the pre-tag and what's being displayed in it. If we refresh the page, then you'd see just a plain old blank pre-tag with an ID of display area, which is exactly what you're going to get when you've got this. But if we watch over here, when we click on the button, suddenly it gets filled in with some data. There's probably like a million other things to say about this, but I'm not going to say them.